Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a video that I feel like is much anticipated since I did this last year, and it is tier ranking every single book that I read in 2023. I read 70 books, so I definitely feel like this tier ranking is going to be a lot more intense than last year's, and I'm super excited. It took me, let me just say, I started recording this and then I was like, wait, how do I screen record again? It took me like 10 minutes. I feel like I'm getting to be such an old lady. I like don't know how to do technology anymore, which is embarrassing. But I am ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and we are gonna go ahead and start tier ranking every single book that I read in 2023. And I'm so excited. Okay, so as far as my categories go, I wanted to go ahead and copy what I did last year, but I tweaked it just a little bit. So the top little section here is Change My Brain Chemistry. These are books that I cannot stop thinking about. Books that I have changed the course of my life. If I'm going to recommend a book to anybody, it's probably gonna be from this top category, but still great. Next, we have Highly Recommend. So these are books that I really liked, but I don't necessarily sit and think about on a daily basis. They're not like my Roman Empire. They are just books that I really enjoyed and I really like, and I still highly recommend them to people. Next, we have Enjoyed It for What It Was. It was just a good book. I had a good time reading it. Nothing to write home about. It was just a good book, and that's all there was to it. Then we have Just Fine. That's all there is to that too. It was just fine. It was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. It was just fine. And then the bottom is Absolutely Not. These are books that I don't even want to look at anymore. I'm upset that I read them basically, because as y'all know, I am a completionist, and if I start a book, I have to finish it. I don't think I've ever DNF'd a book yet, and I'm not saying that proudly because I'm sure there is going to come a time when I DNF a book. But if I start a book and I'm like, I don't really like this, unfortunately, in my pea brain, I have to finish it. So that's kind of what that category signifies. So when I loaded these all in, they loaded them in so out of my reading order, but we can just go ahead and get started. So at first we have No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I actually read this book in December, so it's very fresh on my brain. This one, in my opinion, was just fine. Just fine. It was okay. I don't hate it. It wasn't a book that I sit back and think about and I'm like, no, but it was just fine. It's just a book. It's just a book. That's literally all there was to it. It was just a book. Next, we have Artemis. I really enjoyed Artemis. It was my first kind of jump into sci-fi, and I had such a good experience with it that I've already purchased another sci-fi book that I think I'm really going to enjoy. So I'm gonna put this under Highly Recommend. I think this is a book that a lot of people should read. Even if you don't think you're into sci-fi, I think it's something you would like because it's more mystery, a light thriller, and just really fun. It's like all around good time. A Winter in New York. I'm gonna put this under, I'm really stuck between Enjoyed It for What It Was and Just Fine, because it was cute, but also it was just fine. So I think I'm gonna put it under Just Fine, and I think I'm gonna put it behind No One Can Know. No, I'll put it in front of No One Can Know. I'll put it in front. Then we have This Time Next Year, which I actually gave 5 stars. I was giving out 5 stars left and right last year, and I'm trying to kind of hold back on that and only give 5 stars to books that I, again, change my brain chemistry. So This Time Next Year, I gave it 5 stars initially, but I think I'm gonna put it under Enjoyed It for What It Was, because it was a very cute, romantic kind of rom-com book, and it was cute. I don't really highly recommend it. I think it was just, I enjoyed it at the time and I was really in the mood to read it, and I gave it 5 stars, and I take that back. I take that back. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I think I've read all of Lucy Foley's books to date. There's only 3, right? And she's coming out with a new one this year, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Hunting Party was my least favorite. It was just fine. I'm gonna put it at the back of Just Fine. It was not the best book I've read by her. I think The Guest List is my favorite of the 3, but The Hunting Party was me just trying to complete the little Lucy Foley trio that I had, and it just was not what I wanted. The Shadows. This book was so good. I think I'm gonna put it under Enjoyed It for What It Was, and I'm gonna put it above This Time Next Year, because I really liked it. It's a very spooky kind of horror book, kind of thriller. I have the other book by Alex North that I think you're supposed to technically read before The Shadows, but you don't have to. I think it's called The Whisper Man. I plan on reading that this year, so I'll put that in obviously in my next tier ranking next year. But I think I enjoyed The Shadows for what it was. It was very good. It's not something I would super recommend, but I had a good time reading that. Ninth House. Okay, so I don't know where I want to put Ninth House. I don't think it changed my brain chemistry. I don't think about it that often, although I do think about the sequel Hellbent because I have been waiting for it to come out on paperback to purchase it. So I feel like I think about that one more, but I am going to put it under highly recommend. And for me, I don't know if I want to put it before or after Artemis. I think I'm going to put it before because I do really recommend Ninth House. I had such a good time reading it. It's a dark academia and it's really, really good and I really enjoyed it. So I think I will put it above Artemis. Next we have Delicates, which is the sequel to Sheets, which Sheets is down here. So I told you these got uploaded all out of order, but Delicates was really cute. I'm going to put it under enjoyed it for what it was above This Time Next Year, because that's basically all it is. It's a very sweet graphic novel. It's the second in a trilogy and it's just, I don't know, it's a very sweet book and I do enjoy it for what it was. Better than the movies. This is where it starts, y'all. Changed my brain chemistry. I think about this book very often. I loved this book so much and I went into this book with I guess I kind of did go into it with a lot of high hopes because it has been highly recommended, but it's a YA romance and I didn't think I would love it as much as I did and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I have two more Lynn Painters on my TBR. One is her adult romance and another is a YA romance, and I'm so excited because it was just I think about Better Than the Movies very often. It's such a sweet book and it just I recommend it to literally everybody. Next we have Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead. Is this the second in the Finlay Donovan series? I think it is. I personally really like the Finlay Donovan series, but to be fair, I have only read the first two. I haven't read the third one yet, and I believe the fourth one comes out this year. So I am gonna put it under highly recommend, but I'll put it at the back of highly recommend just because I do like the Finlay Donovan series. I think it's fun. It's like a cozy mystery when you're trying to just kind of relax and you just want to read for fun. I guess I read horror for fun, but if you're just trying to relax, read. I think it's a good relaxing read. Next we have Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire. It's the second in the Wayward Children series. God, I wish these uploaded not out of order, but I started reading the Wayward Children series this year. I have loved it. I have thought about it dang near every day. Come Tumbling Down was a great one. I'll put that under highly recommend. Oop, what's happening? And what is happening? And I'll pop it behind Artemis, I think, because I do highly recommend the Wayward Children series, and Come Tumbling Down is the second one. It's amazing. Next we have All the Dangerous Things, which was a thriller. I enjoyed it at the time and I enjoyed it for what it was, so I do think I'll put it in that category. Now I feel so bad because This Time Next Year I really did give 5 stars, so me popping that in the back, we'll do it above Delicates. But yes, I did enjoy it for what it was. It's a good thriller. It's a lot of fun. Kept me on my toes. I did enjoy it at the time. Next we have The Housemaid. So I'm struggling here because I want to put The Housemaid under Change My Brain Chemistry, but at the same time, after I read the second one, it really just took me out. The second one was not as good as the first, and it almost tainted my vision on the first, which makes me so upset. But when I did read The Housemaid, it was wild. I stayed up till 2 in the morning reading this book because I was so entranced by it. But I do think I'll have to pop it in and highly recommend, looking back now. And that's why this tier ranking thing is so good, because I look back and I'm was it as good as I thought it was initially? Maybe not, but I'll put it behind Ninth House, but still above Artemis because I think it's such a good thriller and you should absolutely read the first one. If you've not read anything from Frida McFadden, that is such a good book. Next we have What Lies in the Woods. This book was just fine. This is another book by Kate Alice Marshall. I liked this one a little bit more than No One Can Know, but those two adult thrillers from Kate Alice Marshall have not hit for me, and so they will stay in the same category. Next we have The Rewind, which was another book I read last January. I may have given this one 5 stars too, honestly. I don't really remember, but I'm gonna say this one was also just fine. I'm gonna put it behind No One Can Know though, just because it was a great romance. It was just very long. There was no need for it to be 400 pages. It just felt a little long, so I'll put it there. Next we have 11 the Time of Serial Killers. I really liked this book. I had a really good time reading this one. I don't know if I highly recommend it though. I think I enjoyed it for what it was. I think that's probably where I'll put it, but I will put it at the top of enjoyed it for what it was, because I totally did. Like, it was such a good book and I really enjoyed it. Ugh. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is another one that absolutely changed my brain chemistry. I think about this book so often, and this is when I went down my Taylor Jenkins Reid little spiral, although I only have read one other book by her. But I have so many on my TBR. So I'm gonna put this up and change my brain chemistry, but it's gonna go behind Better Than the Movies, because I still think Better Than the Movies is more of a favorite to me than that. But I love Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It is such a good literary book. Like, literary fiction, is that what it's? Yeah, I think so. It's really good. Next, we have A Game of Cones. This was the second book in a series, right? Yes. And after reading this book, I decided to go ahead and just stop reading the series just because it wasn't for me. It's a very cozy, cozy, cozy mystery. And I feel like I'm already getting that from Finlay Donovan, and I don't really need another cozy mystery in my life. So this book was just fine. I'm gonna put it above the Kate Alice Marshall thrillers though, because I don't think it needs to go behind. Sorry, I have like a hair in my nose. Next, we have The Writing Retreat. This was a really fun thriller. I really enjoyed it for what it was. I know this book is really, a lot of people are really divisive about it. A lot of people really loved it and a lot of people really hated it. I had a fun time while reading it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was really fun. I'm gonna pop it in that category, but I'm gonna put it above All the Dangerous Things because I think I liked it just like a pinch more than All the Dangerous Things. But I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. Next, we have Legends and Lattes. So Legends and Lattes, I'm kind of stumped on because I enjoyed it for what it was, but I also do recommend it. But at the same time, I feel like I recommend it to a very select amount of people because it is a cozy fantasy. It's very low stakes. Not much is really happening, but you're just kind of there and you're just kind of, it's like slice of life following these orcs and they're making a coffee shop and it's very sweet. So I will put it under highly recommend, I think, but at the back of highly recommend, just because like it leans between enjoyed it for what it was and highly recommend. So I think that makes the most sense. Next, we have Beach Read. Ooh, I loved Beach Read. I don't think it changed my brain chemistry. I think People We Meet on Vacation did, solely because it was my first Emily Henry and it just like threw me. I was obsessed, but I already read Book Lovers last year, and like I said, People Meet on Vacation last year. And so Beach Read was just kind of me topping off the Emily Henry paperbacks because I'm waiting for Happy Place to also become a paperback. I know, I'm annoying. But I do highly recommend it. I think I'm gonna put it behind Ninth House. Is that a sin? I feel like that might be a sin, but I think I'll put it behind Ninth House. But yeah, I still highly recommend. I love Emily Henry. Her romances are just so good, and that one's amazing. Next, we have the, oh, I don't even remember what this is called. It's the Quinta Brunson autobiography. It doesn't even say what the full title of it is, but it's my first nonfiction and my only nonfiction of the year. I don't particularly love autobiographies or nonfiction books, and I feel weird rating it, so I'm just gonna pop it at the back of enjoyed it for what it was, because that's all I can put there. Next, we have The Hawthorne Legacy. This is the second book in the Inheritance Games. I loved the Inheritance Games, and it's a trilogy. Hawthorne Legacy was good. I think I'll put it under enjoyed it for what it was, but I will put it in between All the Dangerous Things and Delegates. I think that's where I want to put it. I need a drink. It's after the Inheritance Games, the rest of the books just slowly started getting not as good for me, and that's disappointing, but it's just, it is what it is. Next, we have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I mean, y'all already know, this has just changed my brain chemistry. I'm gonna put this one at, oh sorry, at the very tippity top because I love this book. I recommend this book to just about everybody, and I had such a great time reading it. It absolutely changed my brain chemistry. Like, I loved, like as soon as I read this book, I think after I read this one, I was like, oh, I need to buy all of his books, and I did. So like, if that doesn't say anything. Next, we have Priest. Absolutely not. I could not stand this book. I've talked about this again in one of my monthly wrap-ups when I read this book. I wanted to DNF this 10, 13 pages in, and I pushed through it because it is a shorter book. Guys, this book is like the absolute definition like of smut, and I can handle smut, but it was just, so smutty. I couldn't, like, this isn't real life. Like, there's just absolutely no way. So yeah, absolutely not. I cannot. That book was just not for me. Ugh, The Dead Romantics. Love The Dead Romantics. I do highly recommend this book. I actually think I recommend this at the tip top of highly recommend. Yeah, definitely before Ninth House, because this was so good, and I cannot wait to read Ashley Poston's next book, which is The 7-Year Slip. Everybody that I've seen that has read it has said it's been a 5-star read for them, or like close to a 5-star, so I'm so excited for that. So Dead Romantics was so good. I highly recommend that for sure. Next we have The Unhoneymooners from Christina Lauren. I love Christina Lauren's Love in Other Words, so like pretty much everything they write I have enjoyed. The Unhoneymooners is no exception. It was absolutely great. I do recommend it. I do think I would put it behind Artemis though. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense for me, because I would recommend Artemis just a little bit more than The Unhoneymooners, but if you like romance, I do recommend it. It's very, very good. Ugh, the next we have The London Seance Society. Oh, I'm like stuck with this one because I want to put it under Just Fine, but I also want to put it under Absolutely Not. But I feel like Absolutely Not is for the books that really just irritated me, just like made me mad. I wanted to DNF. So I'm going to put this at the very back of Just Fine, because it was truly that. It was just not for me. It was not my style. It just was not what I wanted. Next we have Final Girls by Riley Sager. So here's the thing. I did not like this one as much as I liked Home Before Dark. I think out of all of the ones I've read from him so far, Final Girls is my least favorite. So I did enjoy it for what it was. I think I'll put it here. Yeah, after The Shadows, because I think I would recommend The Shadows and Love in the Time of Serial Killers more than Final Girls, but Writing Retreat and all the rest of those can go behind it. So I think that makes the most sense for that. Next we have The Soulmate. That's another thriller. This one was just okay for me. Did I like it a lot? I think I might have given it like a low 3 because it wasn't my fave. So I think I'm gonna put The Soulmate under Just Fine, maybe? No, I don't know. I feel like I want to move this Quinta Brunson book so bad, but I feel bad doing so. I'm just gonna leave it. So for The Soulmate, I think I'm gonna put it at the, I enjoyed it for what it was. So I'll put it right here in that, but I'll keep it above the nonfiction book. I think that works. Then we have Verity. Verity is a tough one because I flew through it because it is like a very intense thriller and a very easy to read thriller. Colleen Hoover books are so easy to read in my opinion. I'm stuck because I did enjoy it, but it was also just fine because the content of it really made me angry and like gross. So I think I'm gonna put it at the back behind The Soulmate and enjoyed it for what it was. I think that makes like the most sense for that situation. Next we have Crooked Hearts, which is a YA horror. I like YA horror. I think Crooked Hearts was really good. It's like a witchy one, which I quite liked. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't highly recommend it, so I know it's gonna go in that category. Maybe I put it above The Soulmate. Yes, I think that's perfect. I think that's exactly where I want to put that. Then we have The Last Word. Okay, so like everybody that I've seen has been obsessed with The Last Word, and I liked it, but I'm not obsessed with it. So I think I'm gonna put it under enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm gonna put it above The Writing Retreat. Maybe even above Final Girls. No, above The Writing Retreat. I cannot do that to Riley Sager. So I definitely enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm like not as obsessed with it as everybody else has been. Like it's a good thriller, but you could call what was happening pretty much the whole time. So that was that. Okay, and we are back. Next we have Grady Hendrix' How to Sell a Haunted House. This book was like 100 pages too long, and it was about puppets, which is very scary. I like Grady Hendrix. His horror is very comic, like comedy horror to me. It's just funny. So I did enjoy it for what it was. I don't highly recommend it. I think I'm gonna put it, I'll put it after All the Dangerous Things. Oops, right here, perfect. Above Hawthorne Legacy for sure, because it was good, it was fun, but like I said, it was like 100 pages too long. There was just no need for the extra bits. I thought it was over and then it just kept going. It was very annoying. Next we have Camp Zero. This is going under Absolutely Not for me. I think this is one of the ones that I have talked the most shit on. as well as Priest. I'm gonna put it above Priest though. It's a dystopian book and I thought it was gonna be way cooler than it was. The entire premise was awesome, but the execution just is not what I was looking for. And I think the author is anticipating doing a sequel to it. And I just, no, there's just no way. So absolutely not for me. Dark Corners, this was the second book. I didn't read the first book, but I got this from Book of the Month. And I know they can be standalone, so it was totally fine, but I am gonna put it under just fine. I might even put it right after No One Can Know, because it was literally just okay. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever read. I think maybe if I read the first book, I'd like it a little bit more, but also who knows? And I'm not gonna take that opportunity to figure it out. So we'll just put it under just fine. Next we have Lore Olympus. This was actually the first graphic novel that I've ever read, and I liked it a lot and I enjoyed it for what it was. So I'm definitely gonna put it up here. I think I'm gonna put it behind Final Girls because I did really like it and I thought it was very sweet. Next we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This is when I was like, ooh, I liked The Housemaid, let me read Never Lie. And I do highly recommend Never Lie. I think it's very good. I would put this probably after The Honeymooners. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I do highly recommend that book. It is very good. It's very fast paced. Just like with Colleen Hoover, I feel like Frida McFadden's writing is very easy to read, very easy to digest, and her thrillers are just quick. So I really liked that one. I do recommend. Next, oh wait, Come Tumbling Down was the fourth book. Down Among the Sticks and Bones is the second. So I actually might move that. I'm gonna move that to here. Yeah, because that's the fourth one and I didn't love that one as much as the second, which is right here, which is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. This one I do highly recommend. I will pop that one. Ah, where'd it go? I lost it. Where'd it go? Oh, not here. Hello. I'll pop that one right back in here. And that'll go above Finley Donovan because actually, I'll put it behind Artemis because I did really like Down Among the Sticks and Bones a lot more. Come Tumbling Down, it's essentially the same premise of the Wayward Children series. You're still following the same characters in these two books in particular, but Come Tumbling Down was not as great as Down Among the Sticks and Bones. It's hard to explain. Just read the Wayward Children series, y'all. Just read it. It's so good. Next, we have The Long Game. I don't want to put this under absolutely not because like I did not like it, but I'm going to put it under just fine, but I'm going to put it towards the back. I'm gonna put it above the London Seance Society but behind The Hunting Party because it was fine. Like it was fine as a romance. It was just so long and it dragged forever and there was so much unnecessary dialogue and descriptions and it just didn't make any sense and I was so over it by the end that it was just fine. Next we have Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. This is the first book in the Wayward Children series. I wish I put this in order, but alas, here we are. This one did change my brain chemistry. I have become just completely enamored with the Wayward Children series. So this one, I honestly think might even go above Seven Husbands. I just absolutely love this series and this book is the first and therefore I loved it. There's that. Next we have Caraval. So, okay, this is difficult because I just read Legendary, which is the second in the trilogy. And I liked Legendary so much more that I feel like now all I can think about is Caraval because of that. So that one probably changed my brain chemistry. We'll see for next year's tier ranking. But Caraval, I do highly recommend. I think I'm gonna pop this even above The Housemaid. It's such a good time. I love it. So there's that. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I enjoyed it for what it was. It's definitely gonna go in that category. I think I'm gonna put it above The Last Word because I liked it a little bit more than The Last Word. So I think I'm gonna put it there. Next we have A Court of Silver Flames. So ACOTAR, this is the last, well, current last in the ACOTAR series. ACOTAR changed my brain chemistry for sure. Court of Silver Flames was really good, but I think I'm gonna put it under highly recommend. And we're also gonna pop this above The Unhoneymooners, but still behind Down Among the Sticks and Bones because I like that one so much more. But I do highly recommend if you haven't read ACOTAR, baby, what is you doing? You need to be reading that book. It is so good. Next we have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I liked this less than Home Before Dark, but more than Final Girls. So I do highly recommend this one actually. So, Lock Every Door, I think I'll put this above The Housemaid even, and above Caraval. And above Bee Tree. Yeah, I think that's where I want to put that one. I do highly recommend it. It's very fun, very good. Next, we have Daisy Jones and the Six. Ooh, this might be a hot take. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was fun. I didn't become as obsessed with it as everybody else has been obsessed with it, but I thought it was a good read. So I did enjoy it for what it was. I will put this above Lore Olympus. I think that's where I'm gonna put that. Ooh, hot take, I know, I'm sorry. Next we have Stolen Tongues. I wish some of these worked, or like not worked, but didn't go crazy here. But Stolen Tongues, I really liked it for what it was, I think. So I'm gonna put it there, but I think I'm gonna put it behind Crooked Hearts. It's a fun horror. Not fun, it's very scary. It's like Skinwalker horror, it's very creepy, but I'll put it and enjoyed it for what it was. Old Country, so when I talked about this book in my monthly wrap up, I was like not as enamored with it as I wish I was, but I think about it a lot, like a lot. It didn't change my brain chemistry necessarily, but I do think I'm gonna put it under highly recommend after like sitting and thinking and processing with it. I'm gonna put it after Never Lie though, and before Finlay Donovan. It's a spooky thriller, spooky horror, and I think you should read it. I do recommend it. Next we have Hidden Pictures. I do highly recommend Hidden Pictures as well. I think I'll put this one above Down Amongst the Sticks and Bones, behind Artemis, because I do recommend Hidden Pictures. It's a thriller that leans on the more horror side, very spooky, and it's very fast-paced, which I love a good fast-paced book. Next we have You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. This is taking me forever, y'all. You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight is a YA horror. I had such a good time reading this. It is such a good YA horror to read in the summertime, because it's like the scene is like a summer camp, or the setting. Don't think it necessarily changed my brain chemistry, although I did give it 5 stars, but I will put it under highly recommend, and I think I'm gonna put it behind Ninth House because I do highly recommend it. I had such a good time with it. Next we have She Started It. This was a thriller and it just was not for me, and I almost want to put it under absolutely not, just because you could predict what happened within the first 3 pages, which is so frustrating as a reader, especially a reader of a thriller book. Like, I don't want to know what happens within the first 3 pages because it makes the rest of the book boring. So I'm gonna put it under just fine, but I'm gonna put it after The Hunting Party. Yeah, The Long Game really didn't do it for me. I was really upset with that one. Next we have Under the Whispering Door. I love a good TJ Klune book. They are so sweet and cozy, and they just like give you all the feels and the good vibes. I do highly recommend anything by TJ Klune. If you're gonna read any though, I do recommend The House in the Cerulean Sea. There was just announced that there's gonna be a sequel to it, which I didn't expect at all, and I wanna cry because that book is so good. So I do highly recommend Under the Whispering Door, but I do think I'm gonna put it behind Old Country because like I think that's perfect for it. I think that makes the most sense. Next we have Beneath the Sugar Sky. This is another book in the Wayward Children series. I love this one so much. It's the 3rd one, I believe. I really loved this one. I'm gonna put this one behind Caraval because I loved this one. It was like a fun little quest story, and like the different places that they go to in this one are so fun. So I definitely want to put it there. Next we have Sheets, which is the first book in the Sheets trilogy. Unlike Delicates, I like Sheets more than Delicates, so I'm gonna put it under highly recommend, but I'm gonna put it at the very back of highly recommend because it's a great graphic novel if you're just trying to read something to kind of shut your brain off, but also be lightly sad, I guess. So I'll put it there. Next we have Empires of El Norte. I also feel like this is gonna be a hot take because everybody that I've seen that has read this has enjoyed it, but they've also read it knowing that it's gonna be like more of a historical romance. Baby, it had vampires in the name. I thought it was gonna be scary. It was not. It was very historical romance. I mean, if I would have went into it with that mindset, I think I would have maybe liked it a little bit more, but it was just fine for me. I'm gonna pop it in above Dark Corners. Hot take, I know, sorry. Next we have Garlic and the Witch. Garlic and the Witch is a very, very sweet graphic novel. I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I'll even put it right here above Daisy Jones and the Six. I feel like I'm gonna get so much hate for that, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm gonna put it under there. Next we have The Library of the Dead. This was a series that I was really excited to start because I felt like it was something, as far as the premise said, that I would really enjoy, and I just couldn't get into it. The slang was really difficult for me to pick up. It didn't move as fast as I wanted it to, and even still, the parts that did move fast, they went too fast. I was like, wait, this was really good. I wanted this to keep going, but I'm gonna put this under just fine, and I'm gonna put it above the London Seance Society. Yeah, we'll put it there. Next, oh gosh, next we have Throne of Glass. So I really like Throne of Glass. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna put it behind Ninth House though. I did like the first book, but the second book, we'll get into that in a second. I love Throne of Glass. I'm very excited to continue this series this year. I hope to finish the series this year. Next we have At Home with the Horrors. At Home with the Horrors is a 14 short stories, and it was fine. It was my first venture into short stories. I wanted to read horror ones, and I just didn't love this one as much as I thought I would. I'm gonna put enjoyed it for what it was, but it's gonna go, actually I might even put it under just fine. Let's put it at the top of just fine, because it was just fine. There's some that were really great, and then the rest were just kind of womp womp, you know what I mean? Then we have The Final Gambit, which is the final book in the Inheritance Games trilogy. Just fine. This is gonna go behind A Winter in New York. Once you've read the Inheritance Games, I feel like you've pretty much read them all, because it's the same thing over and over. And the Inheritance Games was just so good that I was just disappointed with not the Brothers Hawthorne. Hawthorne Legacy, yes, and then The Final Gambit. They were just so disappointing to me. Next we have My Roommate is Vampire. I really liked it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't highly recommend it by any stretch of the imagination, but I had a good time reading it, so I think I will put it behind Garlic and the Witch and still above Daisy Jones, just because I really liked it. I thought it was a really sweet, fun, quick little rom-com. Next we have Crown of Midnight. This is the second book, the second that I read in the Throne of Glass series. This 100% changed my brain chemistry. This was so good. The ending, I cannot stop thinking about. I cannot wait to start reading Assassin's Blade. I should read that. I should start that tomorrow. I've been thinking about it too much. So this definitely changed my brain chemistry, and I kind of want to put it again above Seven Husbands, because I love the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Do not get me wrong, but Crown of Midnight, so good. Next we have Dead Silence. Oh, this is another one that changed my brain chemistry 100%. I initially gave this 4.75. I knocked it down, but like I truly think about this book almost every single day. So I'm gonna put this at the literal top of Change My Brain Chemistry, because I loved this book so much, and this author is coming out with another sci-fi horror book, I believe this year, and I am already there. Like I'm gonna pre-order that book as soon as it hits Amazon. I think it might even be already on there. I'm ready. I'm obsessed. I loved Dead Silence. It's like Ghost Ship, but in space. It is spooky, creepy. It's everything I wanted. I was obsessed. Next we have Starling House. Again, I didn't really love Starling House too much. It's very like, it was romantic-y kind of, with like a little thriller bit thrown in. It just wasn't what I wanted. It was just fine. So I'm gonna put it above A Game of Cones, but behind The Final Gambit, because it was just fine for me. Then we have In an Absent Dream. This is another book in the Wayward Children series. I enjoyed it for what it was. The ending was so freaking sad. I'm gonna put it behind Garlic and the Witch, because I just love that series so much. Then we have Garlic and the Vampire. So Garlic and the Witch I do highly recommend, but I do highly recommend you read Garlic and the Vampire first, because it's very, very sweet. I'm gonna even put that above Sheets. Right there? Yep, perfect. Because I liked it a little bit more than Sheets. I mean, I think I liked it more than Sheets, but it's just so sweet, and my 8-year-old really loved it. Like, she asks me all the time if there's gonna be a third book, and I don't know, but she loved it, so there's that. Then we have The Stranger Upstairs. I feel like I gave this one 5 stars because it was just so crazy, but thinking about it now in hindsight, I don't highly recommend this book, but it was such a good time while I was reading it, so I did enjoy it for what it was. I'm gonna pop it again. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it before None of This Is True. Yeah, because those, like, None of This Is True, Stranger Upstairs, Last Word, Writing Retreat, All the Dangerous Things. There's some fun thrillers that I got from Book of the Month, but like, I enjoyed them at the time, but now looking at them in hindsight, they were just good. Oh gosh, I'm going down. Next we have The Housemaid's Secret. The Housemaid's Secret was the second book in The Housemaid. I did not enjoy it as much. I'm gonna put just fine, and we'll put it just at the top. No. We'll put it, yeah, we'll put it at the top of just fine, because it was truly just fine. And then next we have What Stalks Among Us. What Stalks Among Us is such a great YA horror. I also believe I gave this 4 or 5 stars. I highly recommend this one as well. I'm actually gonna highly recommend this one above You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. Both of them are absolutely fantastic YA horrors. if you're interested, pick them up. They're so good. And then last but not least, we have Dead 11. I love Dead 11. I don't know what I gave this one either, but I highly recommend this as well. I would highly recommend this above Lock Every Door, but behind You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. Oh my gosh, my little screen is so big now. So that is my tier ranking of every single book I read in 2023. My Change My Brain Chemistry makes the most sense if you've been following with my reading wrap-ups. Dead Silence, Home Before Dark, Better Than the Movies, Every Had a Doorway, Crown of Midnight, Seven Husbands, amazing. But the highly recommend section speaks for itself, and then enjoyed it for what it was, as well as, you know, absolutely not. I mean, those two books are two that I absolutely hated this year. Like, I really did. So that's gonna be it then for my tier ranking of 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.